Hello there, my name's Nicholas Murray, my communications coordinator for United Soccer Leagues. I'm very pleased to welcome you to this first USL PRO Championship Hangout, where we're joined by the Harrisburg City Islanders, Nick Noble and Coady Andrews. Nick, Coady, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your great run through the playoffs. Has it hit you what you've been able to accomplish so far in the last couple of weeks, knocking off not just this year's regular season champion in Orlando City, but last year's as well in the Richmond Kickers to get to the USL Pro Championship Game?
I mean, it's probably more of a surprise to the outside soccer community. We're pretty confident in ourselves, and we've been confident throughout the season. And those teams are good teams, and then we've had our issues with them in the years past, but still teams that we were confident that we could get a result against. So it's probably more of a shock to the outside people watching the game rather than us as a team.
Yeah, you guys started off the season 2 wins out of your first 10 games. What does it mean to be one of the last 2 teams standing now?
Well, obviously, it's not a great way to start, and I think it's a pretty cliche comment to say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and I think we show really good character about how we perform in the second half of the season, and like Nick touched on a little bit ago, we never had a doubt that we'd be here. I think it was more of a shocker to everyone else.
What's the biggest difference been then between the first half of the season and the second half of the season, where you guys have been able to come on so strongly?
Well, I think it's a combination of a bunch of things. We were a young team, not just in age but in experience. We were a team very diverse, lots of different cultures, so it takes some time to get used to and get on the same page, and I think that the hard work we put in the season really paid off. And I think even at the beginning of the season, when we weren't doing so well with results, we were still very competitive in most of the games. Most of the games that we lost, we should have or easily could have gotten a result. So I think we stayed positive and turned those losses into points.
Same feeling for you, Coady?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to miss the first part of that season with an injury, so I wasn't able to kind of experience it from the field. But from the outside looking in, I could see that the team had the desire. Kind of what I saw was a little lack of chemistry, a lack of understanding. Like Nick said, we have a lot of young players, young and experienced as well, and so it takes a little bit for everyone to start gelling. And I think we're fortunate to have a good staff and a good ownership group to help create an environment to where people can start clicking and doing well down the road.
You mentioned the coaching staff, and one of my favorite people to talk to when I get the chance to is Bill Betcher, and he's been the coach there since the franchise began more than a decade ago. He's a great guy on the field. What's your favorite off-the-field Bill Betcher story?
You would have you would know more than I would.
Bill loves to go to the gym. Every time we go to the gym, you see Bill. I don't know if he actually works out at the gym, but he does a lot of walking around at the gym. So he's a workout fiend. But again, I don't see him lifting a lot of weights. I just see him walking around. Okay, now let's get off topic a little bit. I still stick with the soccer theme a little, but I know that in the past, dealing with a lot of players, back when I was a journalist and now doing what I do here for USL, players have superstitions. And are there any pregame routines that you guys have, any pregame superstitions that you guys have that if it doesn't happen, things don't feel quite right when you step out onto the field?
I think yeah, as a team, there are things that we like to do as a team that we kind of have set up just as standard when we travel or when we're home. There's things that we do a certain way. And I think as individuals, I know for me personally, and I've never been the person to be really superstitious until this year. And so I start finding myself doing things in habit now over repetition.
He hangs out too much with me. I'm a superstitious freak. Everything's got to be the same. But if we lose, I change it up.
Yeah.
If we lose, it's because something in the routine was off. So I'll blame it. I have an excuse to get out of it.
Okay, we've got one superstition that we noticed during the season, and it was mentioned a little bit on your home broadcasts, the lucky red socks. Right. How did that come about? How did that come to be? And are you going to be wearing them this Saturday?
They're not so lucky anymore. So I'm not entirely sure we're going to be winning. Once it stops working, we kind of toss it out.
Yeah, we stop it immediately. But I mean, we were at a point of the season where we needed to win most of our games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we probably had about 10 games left in the season. We probably needed 6 wins, and we started wearing them. And just like I always believe, don't change it. If it's working, don't change it.
Now, you guys mentioned you hang out a lot away from the field. Are you roommates together on the road, or if not, who are you roommates with in the squad?
Well, we're roommates at home.
Yeah, I'm sick of this guy. So we're on the road. That's our break. So me personally, I try to room with different guys on the team, get to know, get to know everyone as possible, build relationships off the field. I think Coady rooms with Richie.
I rotate as well.
Yeah.
So what's Nick's worst habit at home, Coady?
Nick's worst habit?
Yeah.
It'd be easier to pick out something he's not bad at. Let's see. Worst habit? Steals my charger.
Yeah.
He steals my phone charger like every day.
Once a week.
Something. Yeah. I have to.
Who's the better cook?
He doesn't cook at all. So.
No.
So it's a very interesting relationship then. I mean, do you do most of the cooking at home, Coady, or who does?
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's true.
I do. I don't cook for him. It's not.
We have an understanding.
We don't set up dates and where I cook for him and stuff. It's if there's food there and I feel generous, I'll make extra. So.
What's your favorite thing to cook then?
My favorite thing to cook? I'm not like an actual cook. I don't cook a lot. I keep it pretty simple. So anything that I can do within 15, 20 minutes, pasta, fish, rice, that type of basic dishes, pretty easy. Salads.
Good to hear. Now, Nick, you started off your pro career. You were in Chicago with the Fire in MLS. You were with Austin for a year or two in USL. But then you went overseas. You headed to Sweden. I'm going to try and pronounce this for Ljungskile in Sweden. What was that experience like, and what did you gain out of that? Is it something that you'd recommend for young players to go out and try?
I thought it was a blast. It tremendously helped my career. I mean, I was in Chicago for 3 years, but rarely saw the field. I was back up behind some very good goalkeepers, so I didn't get to play very much. So going over there, got a bunch of games, played 2 full seasons over there, and it was an easy place to live. Very westernized. It was everyone spoke English. They love Americans over there. They love our work ethic, our athleticism. So it was a good place to go. You see a lot of Americans go over there and do well, and then came back here, and it really helped out. I mean, I had a lot of confidence coming back.
What's your favorite experience from going over to Sweden?
Just living in Europe, seeing the different countries, traveling around. If you get a weekend off, you can just hop on a plane or hop on a train and head to a different country and experience a different part of the world that a lot of us don't really get to experience over here, being so kind of separated from the rest of the world.
Now, Coady, since you turned pro, you've been with the City Islanders for the last couple of seasons. Before that, though, you were with the Des Moines Menace in the PDL, and you guys, 2011, the season you were there, you had a pretty good team. You made the playoffs. You were in the Open Cup. What was your favorite experience hanging out in Iowa?
Iowa. I think it's pretty similar wherever you go with whatever team you're on. I think most guys that do this as a living can attest to this. It's not necessarily where you're at. It's the guys that surround you. It's the moments that you have in the locker room. It's the moments you have on the field. It's just being able to experience players from different parts of the world, interacting with them, communicating, and that's what really makes it enjoyable. Having quality coaches and a good staff and people who support you definitely makes it a lot easier. But it's the guys that you're surrounded with nonstop is what really makes the memories.
Now, generally, from my experience, music is a pretty big thing in the locker room, pre-game, post-game. Who gets control of the boombox? Is there a seniority thing here, or who gets the control of the stereo pre-game? And what do they play to get you guys ready for games?
Well, our young guys pretty much take the stage with. I think they're probably more in tune with what's new and what's hot. What's cool. DJ Slim Goody is actually sitting right next to me, and he's a big '90s R&B guy. So I think if he had control, it would be a different vibe in the locker room. So I'm kind of glad it sticks with the younger guys. That's his name. So what?
DJ Slim Goody.
DJ
Slim Goody. What's your jam?
Like you said, I'll stick with the '90s. But the problem is, most of our team is born in the late '90s, so it makes it tough. They don't even know half the songs I play. But I'll play some Jagged Edge or some Next, Return of the Mac, stuff like that,
And this isn't
stuff us old folks appreciate, right?
Yeah. Come on, you know what I'm talking about.
He's been paid to DJ.
Exactly.
I do birthdays, bar mitzvahs, whatever.
Coady, what do you like to listen to get ready for a game?
Honestly, I don't try to think about anything. I don't like pick and choose. Whatever's on the radio, I'll listen to. I try to stay away from '90s R&B as much as I can. But outside of that, it's just whatever's on is fine with me.
We're big country music fans.
Country music.
So.
Obviously, that's not your typical pregame stuff, but it doesn't bother me either way, as long as there's something on.
Okay, Coady, favorite country artist?
Favorite country artist of all time?
Yeah.
I have a few. I'm gonna pick one. Garth Brooks.
That's probably mine as well. I like a few. Eric Church, Jason.
Excuse me?
Okay, as far as I know, video games seem to be very popular among players. We see players tweeting about it all the time, especially FIFA, the new FIFA coming out today, FIFA 15. Which of you two is the better FIFA player?
I'm the better FIFA player, but to fairness, he doesn't play video games. And
again, I keep it in the '90s. FIFA '98 was my game.
We gotta get out of the '90s. Bro.
I know, but FIFA '98 was the last FIFA I played. But I still keep it. I play Mario Kart for the 64.
Yeah, no, we play a lot of N64.
We keep it retro.
We do go retro. There's a lot more 64 Nintendo playing than there is like Xbox, PlayStation. Absolutely.
So the big question then: do you have GoldenEye for N64? Because I remember when that game was absolutely fantastic when I was growing up.
It's still a fantastic game.
Yes, we have it, and it's still my favorite game of all time.
Multiplayer mode? Are you Bond or are you a villain?
Anything but Odd Job.
Yeah, Odd Job's a cheat. So I think you just switch it up. And License to Kill too. We don't shoot a bunch of times. It's one shot, one kill. That's how it's done.
Okay, you're the better player out of you two as far as current FIFA is concerned. Who in the locker room would be the FIFA champion of the City Islanders?
It's all self-proclaimed. Everyone
thinks they're the champion.
Anyone you meet is like, I'm the best FIFA player. No, I mean,
Jan?
If you had like Jan or Jose, probably like Ecclesia was pretty good. I mean, Luan was pretty good. But yeah. I think it's one of those Christian, Jan or.
I'm gonna say Jan Ekra, best FIFA player. Yeah. Right? Book it,
mark it down.
Okay. Jan, great season in the midfield, and I think, especially in the playoffs, it seems that the run that you had at the end of the regular season, Jan, and then Jan, Jamil, and Jose Barril all really seemed to step up. Was that kind of a tipping point when those three started to play together in the center? And because it definitely seemed like things started to turn around when those guys started to link up.
Yeah. I mean, I could rant and rave about how good those players are all day. I mean, and when they're together, it's a very good combination. Those players are very, very top quality, especially in this league. So they're a big part of our success, absolutely.
Now, one of your teammates, we just announced the all-league teams, first and second team. I don't know if you saw this, but one of your backline teammates, Matt Boehner, was named to the All-League second team. What's he meant to this team throughout the season? And because he seems like a young guy who has so much potential.
Yeah, I mean, he's stepped up. I mean, he's been such a utility player. Like, we've needed players to go in certain positions, and he would be the guy to go in any position. Towards the second half of the season, he was solid at right back, so he got a little more comfortable in one position. And just going forward alone helps us, gives us a lot of good service into the box and had a lot of assists, a few goals. Really gave a different dimension to our game coming down the stretch.
Yeah, it was definitely noticeable. I mean, I think the big goal that you guys got against Richmond this past Saturday was the second goal, with Jamil starting the play, finishing the play, but Matt making that great run down the right, perfect service into the center. Just kind of popping up in those situations has really been a big factor for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching the video at home, and we were in awe of that goal we scored. It's one of the best goals we scored. Just making them turn the ball over, and the speed that we have and the creativity that we have going forward punishes teams, and it certainly did in that situation.
Now, we asked fans if they wanted to send any questions in for you guys before the chat began, and one of Sacramento's fans, Dennis Hunter at DTheHunter916, wanted to know: are you concerned about the hostile environment that you're going to be facing this Saturday at Bonnie Field against Sacramento Republic FC?
I think when the game starts, as a player, you're able just to tune that out. For me, I appreciate it. I love when fans from opposing teams, are just into the game. They're after you. I know Nick gets it more than anybody, and I'm sure he appreciates it as much. But it's one of those things that you love to see. As a player on the field, those are the type of environments you want to be in, and you want to be on Sacramento side as well. And I think you just kind of embrace those moments. To be scared or timid, I don't know would be a good word for it. I think it's more exciting than anything.
Nick, you've obviously, as Coady said, you get a lot of chatter from the fans, especially when you're in front of a supporters section. Right. What's the best put down, take down that you've heard this season?
I probably can't say that on camera, but you get a lot of it, and I mean, I appreciate the creative ones. I mean, we were walking off the field in Orlando, and someone said, your bookstore sucks. They're referring to Barnes & Noble. They assume I own the store. Sadly, that's not true. But I mean, I appreciate the creative ones. Some get a little repetitive and predictable when they come up with a chant, and they think they're the first ones to ever say it. But I actually heard that like 7 days ago. So, but I appreciate the fans and the sport that you're coming out and supporting the sport and the league. So I'm perfectly fine with it.
The league's obviously grown a lot in the last 4 years since it was established, especially the last 2 years. We see the LA Galaxy 2 coming in this year. There's a lot of talk about what's the league's going to look like next year. From a player's perspective, what's it been like to see the evolution of USL Pro over the last few years?
Take that one.
I mean, it's my third season in the league, and you just see how exponentially it's grown in the last few years. And it's great. It's great for U.S. soccer. It's great for young players to get an opportunity to play games. I mean, you see a lot of the times it's unfortunate you see players get drafted in the MLS, not make the team, not have anywhere to go, or make the team and sit on the bench, not play any reserve games. So it's good for young players to develop, and start making leaps elsewhere. And when they make that leap, they're ready to perform at the highest level that we got. So just the way the league's gone and the MLS being involved with it's been great, and it's going to continue to grow like that.
Obviously, you guys have been somewhat beneficiaries of that. Coady, your partner in central defense, Rafa Marquez, Rafa on loan from the Union, Jimmy McLaughlin coming down, Antoine Hoppeneau coming down to help the attack out. Has it been exciting to see the way those guys have grown throughout the season?
Absolutely. I can touch on Jimmy and Richie personally. Antoine is this is his first year. Jimmy last year. Jimmy's a very, very talented player, and I think this is a similar case to your Dom Dwyer, where he may have not just fit in at that moment, and then he comes down and he starts doing well and he gets his confidence back, and starts producing. I think Richie's the same way. Richie, I think Richie could be competitive at any level right now. I don't know if there's, for him, I'm not sure how much fluctuation there would be. I think he's a very, very solid player. But just being able to get minutes and get that confidence in the game is you can't replicate that at practice. So it's priceless for a player. Absolutely.
Now, when I'm watching you guys play, I think the thing that jumps out at me most and has jumped out over the last few games in particular has been the speed going forward. So to make a comparison, maybe Jimmy McLaughlin is a little bit like Roadrunner from the Warner Brothers cartoons. So here's my question for you guys. Nick, if Coady were a cartoon, what cartoon character would he be?
Wow. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Interesting.
I didn't watch a lot of cartoons. I would say Skeeter from the cartoon Doug.
Wow.
How about Nick, Coady?
He'd be Doug.
So we got Skeeter and Doug.
Yeah.
You guys inhabiting your own little universe there.
That's Halloween costumes right there.
That's right.
Okay, one last question before we let you guys get out of here. You were able to go out, spoil Sacramento's home opener, spoil the party when you headed to the West Coast earlier in the season. What's it going to take to do that again on Saturday and claim Harrisburg's first USL Pro Championship?
We have to defend. I mean, it starts with defending. We have to expect them to come out flying on all cylinders in the first 15 minutes. If we can weather that storm and maybe use the pressure of their environment against them, like we have, I think, in the other rounds of the playoffs, then I think I'll be set. And I think we're fine. We're confident, and there's no pressure on us. So we're just going to go out and play our game.
How about you, Coady?
I agree. I don't think you changed much from our last two performances. I think the last two results, you could see that we, maybe conceded possession, which is fine with us, as long as we're defending well and we have fast players, we're able to counter. So I think we just got to keep doing what we're doing and enjoy the moment. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on us. I think we just got to have fun with it and play our game.
Well, I know I'm really excited to meet up with you guys this Friday as we all head out to the West Coast, me up from Florida and you guys out from Pennsylvania. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us. We hope all of you guys will join us. We're having another hangout tomorrow afternoon. Tommy Stewart and Emma Clementa of Sacramento Republic FC will be joining us at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. So join us for that. You can also follow us, as always, on social media at USL Pro on Twitter, Facebook, right here on Google Plus and Instagram. But again, Nick, Coady, thank you so much for joining us and good luck this Saturday.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody.